That's a threat. So you just gotta wonder I don't, you can hate the American people, and that's fine, but do you have to hate them that much that you wish to see them destroyed? In the meantime, we got liberals on this side of the pond, of the great ponds. That would be the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, for those of you in Rush Limbaugh's For Your Linda. They call the Atlantic Ocean the pond, the big pond. So I'm just doubling it and saying, the great ponds, plural, meaning Pacific Ocean. You're going to call the Atlantic Ocean a pond, you might as well call the Pacific Ocean a pond. So meanwhile, on this side of the ponds, you've got a story here out of thecollegefix.com. A public university could punish neck rubs as sexual battery under new policy. So we've got the world, just falling apart, gearing up for war because they hate the United States and the West. And we're worried about whether or not consensual neck rubs are sexual battery or not. I kid you not. East Carolina University. Students who are good at neck rubs could find themselves hauled before a sexual misconduct board under new rules approved by the Board of Trustees. Now, you liberal idiots, you asked for this stuff. You liberal, mamby-pamby, wimpy, liberal college students, you've asked for this stuff. Now, look, I think it's kind of funny because, one of the sexual revolution, all that kind of stuff, sex without any consequences, that's what they all want. Now, all of a sudden, stuff that could lead to sex, not so good anymore, huh? The new policy describes sexual battery as the intentional or attempted sexual touching of another person's clothed or unclothed body, including but not limited to the mouth, neck, buttocks, anus, genitalia, or breast, by another with any part of the body or any object in a sexual manner without their consent. Yeah, I am not going to read that again to you because that was just disgusting. So the school described updates to non-discrimination and Title IX policies in a press release dated back on December 18th. Same day, by the way, as their winter commencement. Though it's labeled ECU News Services, the release is nowhere to be found from the news portal. The school's only apparent public communication of the changes appears to have been 4 days later on Twitter. So, hey, we're going to change the rules, but we're not going to tell you about them. So when you run afoul of the rules, you're going to say, I didn't know. And they're going to say, well, too bad. You should have known. But you couldn't know because they didn't tell. Well, they put it on Twitter. But by the way, Eamon Bundy had his Twitter account suspended. So, he wouldn't have known about it because he had his Twitter account suspended. But so he could go to Eastern Carolina University and give some stressed out female or male, I guess. They're not saying it has to do with either sex. A neck rub. Yeah, it's sexual battery if you give somebody a massage now. Whether they're clothed. I'm going to, if they're unclothed, how would you get to the point where you're unclothed if you didn't want to have your neck rubbed? I'm just logically thinking out loud here. I don't understand it. And I don't understand simply because I guess I'm just not smart enough to understand. I guess I'm just not smart enough to understand, because if I was smart enough, I'd already understand. I wouldn't have to question it, how bad it is for people to. I don't. So if you go to your doctor now, and if the doctor touches you, but you don't want the doctor to touch you, but the doctor has to touch you, but you don't want the doctor to touch you, is the doctor going to be construed as sexual? Or where are we going with this? I mean, I don't. No human contact whatsoever. I don't know, maybe, well, kids in grade school, they're not allowed to hug. Remember that? Some they were being chastised for hugging. No hugging. It's like the Emperor's New Groove. No touchy. What? These liberals, they're out of their mind. These people should not have guns because they're mentally ill. Now, frankly, it's a good thing that most liberals don't want to have guns because they are mentally ill. And could you imagine? I mean, some of the most dangerous people on the planet, I guess, are liberals. So maybe we should make liberals a liberal army. They should be able to destroy the enemy with no problem because, they know everything for one, and they've already proven they can be very destructive. When was the last time you saw a bunch of conservatives rampaging and looting and burning and destroying stuff? Yeah. So liberals are very good at it, so they know how to do that. So maybe we should, develop a liberal army, the People's Liberal Army, and, kind of like the French Foreign Legion. We could have a domestic liberal legion and unleash them onto the world in places that, we don't want to send our real men and women in the military. Don't want to expose them to that kind of stuff, and just let the domestic liberal legion handle everything in the Middle East, because they obviously know how to do it. They can be destructive when they have to be, or when they want to be. So maybe we should just send them all over there. It's kind of like the Peace Corps, but the Liberal Corps, I guess, Liberal Army Corps, the Liberal Legion, and unleash them on them. Hey, look, we'd probably take care of the trouble over there inside of a few months, with very little, casualties on our side, really. That would we wouldn't be able to get rid of enough of them, but at least they'd be doing something useful. Hey, folks, are you still wanting to say no to health insurance and not be penalized with a mandated tax under the Affordable Care Act? Yeah, it is a tax. Kind of like Social Security is not an insurance program either. It's a tax. The government wants you to think that you have no choice and that you're going to be punished for not having health insurance, because that's what they said. You're gonna get first this fine is going to be small, then next year it's going to be big, and next year it's going to be bigger until it gets to the point where it's just going to be ridiculously big. And if you can't pay it, they'll probably throw you in jail for not having health insurance. Well, basically what the federal government, Obama and his ilk are trying to say, either you pay out or you pay up. That's essentially what's being told to you. You no longer have control over your own minds and your own bodies. The government has complete control over your minds and your bodies now, and you have to, and they want full control of your wallet. So you have to either pay out what they say that you have to pay out, or you're going to have to pay up what they say that you're going to have to pay up. So either way, your wallet is being raped and you're being screwed. Well, there's a great way to say hell no and get away with it. Now, I know the best way to say hell no and get away with it is actually forcing Congress to do their job and repeal this thing. But outside of that, short of that, you can also visit www.stopobamacaretaxnow.com to find out how you can legally say hell no and get away with it. Again, that's www.stopobamacaretaxnow.com to find out how you can legally say hell no without being hellishly punished for saying hell no to the government. By the way, did you know that Germany was stunned over New Year's Eve? Yeah, Germany. Well, I don't know why they're stunned. I don't think I think the government, the German government, Angela Merkel, was probably stunned. New Year's sex assaults. stoke German migrant debate. I don't think that they were giving back rubs or neck rubs in Germany on New Year's Eve. I think that's just an American thing. You can probably, hey, there's going to be new industry in Mexico and Canada. There are going to be neck rub vacations. German leaders express shock over dozens of apparently coordinated sexual assaults against women on New Year's Eve in the western city of Colony, blamed on Arab-looking men, but warned against anti-migrant scapegoating. So Arabs are the Muslims are running around. Arab Muslims are running around, raping women. But hey, we don't want any anti-migrant sentiment and scapegoating running around. So Chancellor Angela Merkel called for a thorough investigation of the repugnant attacks, ranging from groping to at least one reported rape, allegedly committed in a large crowd of revelers during year-end festivities outside the city's main train station. And outside the main train station and its famed Gothic cathedral. While they're over there groping and sexually assaulting women in Europe and Germany, here we have and their German leaders are shocked. They're shocked. Here we have a bunch of idiotic liberal House Democrats that have just moved to implement Sharia law, which would be, allow women to be groped and neck rubbed. So the whole thing at Eastern Carolina University would be a moot point if we have Sharia law, because you'd be able to neck rub another a woman without penalty. But the Democratic Party, the Democratic House, members in the House, as we were all celebrating the wonderful holiday called Christmas and Festivus and a few others, the people are actually starting to celebrate Festivus. Thank you, Seinfeld. House Democrats, as their last action of the year, moved to implement America's first Sharia law. The message they send is unmistakable, and this is on toprightnews.com. If Democrats and Hillary Clinton control Washington, D.C., our rights will be stripped from us, and Islam will be given a special status. The Democrats quietly sponsored House Resolution 569, a resolution that asked lawmakers to condemn violence, bigotry, and hateful rhetoric towards Muslims in the United States. The resolution specifically mentions Muslims, no other religious groups, and will serve as a test by which further criminalizing of Islamophobia may be introduced. Are you surprised at all by any of that? I'm not surprised. I guess people could be or should be surprised. I'm not surprised by it. They've been running around talking about how wonderful and peaceful Islam is all this time, and without. You got my big thing. It's got to be like the Stockholm syndrome thing, because you have all these wonderful liberal women that are just embracing Islam, knowing they should know how detrimental Islam is to women. And yet, I guess it's just this Republicans that are having the war on Islam. Doesn't have a war on women. American conservatives do, because they want to take away a woman's abortion rights. They want to take away the woman's right to kill their unborn child. So that's a war on women. But actually killing a woman, stoning her, beating her, raping her, forcing her to cover up from head to toe, no more bikinis. That's not.